Oh, anyway, hey, thanks for tuning in. This is Matt Wylde, aka Mac Mayhem, the Riot Maker, and you're watching the Three Count Podcast.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the Three Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and now I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And with this being season 6 and our 400 something episode, I would just hope you say with me, I am your Sherpa, because like your tribal chief, acknowledge me. But like every good Sherpa, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently. You can't sweat never on me. It's about who's entering. So who's entering? You can find this man at EPW, RMPW. You can find this man at AAW, Outbreak, ATCW, SWA, Flying V. This man travels all around. He is the Harm City Hooligan. He is a bad man from the Badlands of Riot City. He is Matt Wylde.
Now, that was a way better intro than what I did. So, you hyped me up so much, and you were like, he could do it. Been there, done that, got that t shirt. And I'm just like, oh, man, this is like one of the first podcasts I've ever been on. So, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, I'm just going to shoot from the hip.
Bet. Well, it's funny because so you have been one of the guys who helped train me back during the pandemic back in 2020. But it's just funny how I've had every member of Riot City come on this
I,
podcast, and so you're the last one.
I'm still trying to figure out how many members of Riot City there truly are.
I had to,
I really doubt that one.
yeah, well, I could be like, let's see, Vic, Jason, Nick, Sicken, yourself, Ron at one time. He was there. Mason has also been a part of Riot City. I've seen other people tag with Riot City out of nowhere.
That's
So
what I'm saying, because literally it's a never ending open door and closed door and revolving door and windows and escape hatches.
yeah,
So, but I am one of the fortunate ones to be one of the original four, and the original four was Skull. Oh, I'm sorry, Sickened, but he was Skull back then. Of course, before he was the Kingpin, he was just Skull. Then you had Jason Drake, but originally known as Jason Scythe. And then you had Aaron Shadows, and then you had myself.
mm,
And which was a very interesting dynamic because two of us came from EWA and two of us were at the compound before the compound was truly the compound.
yeah.
And that's how we came together.
Mm. It's always interesting because like Riot City, like the dynamic, everybody's different personalities and stuff like that is something that I'm like learning a lot more with running around teaming up with Pure Ignorance every once in a while. And it's interesting because like Chaz, myself, Prince, and Noah. Newsflash for those who don't know, we're friends, and so like we have this great dynamic. If you're watching SWA, you're like, what? Yeah, but we have we're all friends prior to ever like making the next leap up, and then just from there, we've all like obviously you could tell like our chemistry is just we're just around each other so much that we know like how to push everybody's buttons pretty well.
See, when you make things personal, that's when you can really get into true storytelling. So it's like you almost have to be friends with the ones that you're traveling with all the time, the ones that you're building a brand with, the ones that you're marketing with. Like you have to be on the same page. So it's just better to have your best friends surround you because that way the natural chemistry just comes out, and then the natural chemistry that you have together transitions into the ring and everything that you do. And then instead of this being a job, this becomes something that's fun and entertaining, and not just for the fans but for you guys as well. And becoming that unit, like, I have more fun traveling to shows, and I have more fun being around, the boys and the girls in the locker room more than I actually do performing. Um, but the best stuff that just comes naturally to the point where you have that cohesive unit to where you have um, where you have Riot City, and you have you have other tag teams, you have other groups. They it, it's fun. Like the whole gimmick, the dynamic. I mean, behind Riot City, the whole dynamic was because Sikkim was trained by Ruckus, and Ruckus is a member of Blackout, the label, not the stable. And the way that Nick wanted to pay homage to him was to create a group of his own. So he directly patterned Riot City's Most Wanted off of Blackout. The same but different. Obviously, you're never gonna recreate or copy Blackout, as nobody should or truly can.
Right.
But when Nick was putting everything together, Stickin was putting everything together, he was like, "All right, I need my Black G's. Who can be Black G's? I need my Joker. Who can be this?" And then when we came together, we realized that, like, we didn't have to look hard to find people, because we were all friends. Like we're all, or we would go to shows like Real Championship Wrestling (RCW), and it would just be us together, like over in a corner somewhere, or hanging out, definitely by the beer cooler. That we're no strangers to the beer cooler. Um, back then it was different times. I can say wholeheartedly, like back then, back in the day, this came to for fruition somewhere around like 2012. I want to say maybe sooner than that. I've had too many concussions to keep a timeline going. Um, but back in the day, like when we would go to, and I know, talking about beer and drinking and stuff like that. No, no, slap on hand. But back in the day, a beer cooler was accessible in every wrestling locker room, and so that's where you meet the pals, just like the neon lights. You going down with your boys? What you doing? You know. So the beer cooler it was always there. It was always there for after the matches, and that's where we're at, enjoying the rest of the show, hanging out, having a good time, and because we were together so much, literally, I thought it was a joke when I got asked to join Riot City's Most Wanted. My original tag team partner, who is currently the GM of Riot Maker Pro Wrestling, Vincent Varelli, he found out that he was having his daughter. At that point, first time father, first kid, he switched all of his focus from pro wrestling to being a father. And, I commend him for that, but that left me going, what am I going to do now? I've always wanted to be a tag team wrestler. I've always wanted to be a part of tag team wrestling. So it kind of left me kind of like for a loop for a little bit, and I went to Nick's for a party one Friday. He used to throw bonfires every single weekend, every Friday, religiously, without fail. And we're at the party. We're doing what we do at parties, and I honestly never thought I'd hear the words, "Matt, you should be a part of Riot City's Most Wanted." And I'm like, okay. Now, if you ever been around Nick when we're partying, it's a lot of alcohol, lots of alcohol. But that's what you do at a party. You drink, you have a good time. So I honestly thought, bro, you're wasted. Like, there's not a chance in hell you just asked me that. And the next morning, we wake up like nothing that ever happened, and he continues the conversation. So, Riot City's Most Wanted, you in? And here I am. And like we've been so close, and always done stuff together to the point like I feel like our chemistry that we have in the ring is like unmatched to what I can do with somebody else. But that's also my best friend.
Yeah.
Like we've been through ups, we've been through downs, we've been through hell, we've been through back. We've gone to the mountaintops and we've had the floor taken out from underneath of us. We've been on this roller coaster ride together and this journey together um, for pretty much the same length of time. I've been in a little bit longer than Nick, um, but ironically, it's today's Nick's birthday. Happy birthday! Um, my birthday is in let's see, it's August, September, October is in 3 months. That makes yes, that does make Nick 3 months older than me, and we share the same middle name. Shoot, so like when it comes down to it, like I'm saying, like you could when you make things personal, it makes that team so much better. So
Yeah.
being friends is not a shocker, especially in today's day and age. Kayfabe kind of gets thrown out the window, and you just roll with it. But hey, my best friends I wrestle with. My best friends also bring out the best that I ever could have ever done in a professional wrestling ring. The people that I'm comfortable with, the people that I love. Like our match was great. Like who can say that they got kicked in the nuts with a prosthetic leg? Hey, I can.
That was like so I want to touch on a couple points, right? Because Chaz and I also, because we do this
Mhm.
podcast together too, we also made it kind of personal here with the podcast. Like there was just like a week where he was on, and
Yeah.
then there'd be like a couple weeks where I was just on and he wasn't there, and we had announced that it was wrestling for the SNW Infinite Plus Championship.
Hmm.
And so, like, neither one of us were on the show at the same time till, like, 2 weeks before, like, the match, and
Hmm.
then next week, like, he had shoot-wise, he had something come up, but I just played it off like, "Yeah, there he goes, running again off this dance route," and then, like, we had a match, like, the following week. So, it was kind of fun to be able, like, to tie all this in, and literally, I made a whole promo video where it was just, like it started with me just looking at Chaz, like, saying, "Hey, go say something stupid, Chaz." And then like the promo rolled on from like all the stuff that we'd done in the past to like being in each other. Like I was in his wedding and like he'd been around with Kira. Like we just tied everything together, and it was a lot of fun to be
Hmm.
able to like tell that bigger story and then just like keep it moving. I was like, yo, this was a lot of fun, and yeah, so I was definitely excited about that. And then to touch on your last point, like yeah, meeting at AAW for the first time and actually getting to actually work. Yeah, who would have guessed that the heel side of me would have been like the best part of like pushing over some random guy and taking his prosthetic leg.
Yeah, and it worked out really well. It was great. I wish that they didn't turn around and do it again in the main event, but it is what it is. Like that match was very entertaining to the point where I actually got a booking because of that match. They were like, "You and Red Dog control the crowd so well that I need you to come and wrestle one of my top heels." Bet, got you.
It was so funny because like remember like so I don't know if you know, but Cage Match has it wrong. They actually have you beating Dave Reed and me
Yeah.
beating JD, it's Jason. And I thought it was so funny. I was like, yeah, no, we're gonna leave it that way because I'm not gonna, not gonna correct nobody. But I think what was so funny about that match was we were sitting in the back and you and I were talking about the match, and right before we went out, and everybody around us was like, yo, like, and I don't want to. I'm not trying to bury anybody. I'm not trying. It's just a legit combo that happened in the back was can you help us save this crowd? And I was like, you and I both looked at you were like, absolutely, we fucking got this, bro. And they're like, don't stress, don't worry about us. We got all of this. And
Oh,
like
not a thing.
we just murked it. And I've sent that match to a bunch of other like promoters and a bunch of my mentors and was like, hey, yo, watch this match. And tell me like like, and I've just told people also make me hate this match, but I've also told people like tell me what was great about this match, and like a lot of people have come back and say like the crowd control is crazy. And I
Uh,
was like,
that
yeah, I was like,
important part for that night was the crowd control. Look, wrestling, my style, your style, somebody else's style. Like we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. Like everybody's gonna have their good stuff. They're gonna have their bad stuff, and that's okay. Um, like at the end of the day, we did exactly what we were asked to do: control the crowd, and that's
mhm.
what we did. I mean, like talking about promos, like your promos, talking about controlling a crowd. I literally had to stop, pull my wife, and say, Liz, you need to watch Cliff's latest promo. And she's like, why? I said, he did it in American Sign Language. And it's on Kurt. And Kurt's music is him singing in the background. Like, this is gold. I stopped everything that I was doing and was like, wow. Like you're talking about crowd control right there. Like it starts with the promos. The promos in itself tells the story, draws the fans in, really sells the tickets, and then all the rest of it is what you do in the ring. How you tell the story is completely up to you. If you want to go full on like old school ROH style, go for it. If you want to go Japanese strong style, go for it. You want to control the match by doing death match stuff or hardcore spots, go for it. Because there's somebody that's there that's going to find that entertaining, and that's their cup of tea. And who knows? Like I tell everybody all the time, every show, no matter what show that you're at, no matter what show you're on, there's always somebody there for the first time, so they are learning what their cup of tea is.
Yeah.
It could be me, it could be you, but that night we had them all.
Yeah, I know, it was great. Also, you that promo, it was so funny is that if you notice too, like I'm wearing a Studio 22 t-shirt, which is
Hmm.
actually the tag team that he was trying
Yeah,
to get into. I was thinking about everything. I was the story aspect of everything just kind of like worked together, and I was like, I've been waiting for a moment to like showcase it. 'Cause I've been working like truly behind the scenes. I've been working like on my sign language for about 2 years now, and I was just waiting for a moment to be able to like just break it out. And right when he said it, oh, you have a, the audio, the quality wasn't up
the
to my
audio
standard
quality
audio,
wasn't to my liking or
and
to
I
my,
was like, bet we're gonna do
and
this
then
whole thing.
and then yeah, you're talking like, see right there, you already you exposed it, because inside your promo it literally says, I learned this specifically for this promo.
Yeah,
And literally, but like my wife was like, he learned sign language just for this promo, and she's OCD, she's ADHD, so she's over analyzing this. She goes, you could tell he's thinking about what he wants to sign before he does it, so he must have just learned it. It even said so in the promo, and I'm like, yeah, babe,
yeah.
I got you. Yeah, babe.
Also, it's funny because like what I love about like Red Dog the character, right? And I'll say this is like I did a promo one time entirely in Spanish. Well, it wasn't entirely in Spanish, but it was like Red Dog had to learn the Spanish culture because he was wrestling a dude named Diego El Trabajador, right?
All right,
So
that's
like so I'm gonna wrestle him. So he needs to learn like about the Spanish culture, which like I was like, yo, I'm already fluent in Spanish. And I was like, let's go ahead and just utilize this skill set somewhere in here. So I made it look like Red Dog was just like literally studying like everything. Like he was learning like how to salsa. He's reading like the Spanish dictionary. By the end of the promo, he's talking full Spanish. And I was like, bro, this is so much fun. I love being able to like include new things. But also I thought about like one thing that I saw, Chris Statlander, right? She
okay.
when she came back, she was signing, like, "This is my house," um, and she was just talking about or no, she said mama's home or something like that. It was something to the effect where she was talking about, like, her just being back, and she was doing a sign language, and I was like, "Yo, that's a great thing," and then I started finding out that, like, it's like 10 to 13% of people in America have like a hearing disability and they have problem like or they're deaf. So I was like, yo, how much fun would it be to be able to sign to people as a heel? It's so
No, that's absolutely great. Like, I was actually going to learn it because my youngest son, Oliver, when he was born, they actually medically diagnosed him as deaf.
Mhm.
We had to take him to a bunch of specialists, and after he got a procedure done to where they actually put him under anesthesia, took him back to the operating room, like started checking his like his eardrums, putting in like vibrations and stuff like that. Then they all the tests from that one test that they did came, oh no, he can hear perfectly fine. But if you asked the doctors the week before that, he was actually diagnosed as deaf. And so I actually was going to start to learn American Sign Language, and then once they told me that he could hear, kind of got sidetracked to yeah, not doing it. Um, but
Be like, yo,
it, it
I
happens.
don't need this.
I- Not even the fact that I don't need it, because it's something that I would absolutely love to learn. It's a beautiful language. Like, I'm tired. I got always got something to do. Like I'm nonstop. I work 7 days a week, and that
Right.
includes wrestling. Includes whatever. Like hell, Friday I went out to North Carolina with ACW. Didn't come back till Sunday, and then when I did come back to Sunday, where did I stop at? Training.
Well, this is and how I started it too was like I was thinking about things that Red Dog would commonly say, and that's how like I started adding to the vocabulary.
Hmm.
So, like, that's just that's literally how I started. So when I was thinking about it, it was like, like Air Force veteran,
Yeah.
like the intel specialist. Like that's how that all came about was like thinking about these kind of things and then like, oh, well, how would it say your friendly neighborhood red dog? And so like just going through and like thinking about the things that he was saying, I'm like, all right, well, how would I say get? Like, oh yeah, get or want or
Hmm.
more or so like all this stuff started adding together and I was like, oh, I can put this word with that word, or that word with this word. And so I wrote the promo out and then I started like practicing like what I was thinking about saying. So I was literally I would literally be thinking about the promo as I'm like going through and I'm like, oh yeah, like I just, like just oh yeah, that's right. And so now I would go back through and repractice everything. Yeah. But that promo was like so much fun to do. And then like when I dropped it and I gave it to I gave it to TJ, I gave it to Kurt, and then I dropped it. Kurt was like, "What do I even say?"
It was funny because I literally went up to Kurt at training, and I was like, Kurt, dog, Cliff just murdered you. Like, that was the greatest promo I have seen in a long time. And Kurt's just like, I know, right? Like, what do I say to that? Like, how do I respond? Like, he won. He gets it. He won. He won this battle. That, like, I can't respond.
It was funny too because Nick came back to me and Nick was like, well, Sicken came back and it was like, dude, he's like, even as you're signing all of this, he's like, I can still see Red Dog in it. And I was like, good. That means that my facials were on point too. Cause that was something else. That was another reason why I wanted to learn sign language was because you're doing so much with your hands, but also your face is also telling your nonverbal cues are also giving those away. And I was like, bro, I want to work on my facials for wrestling because like that was the thing I felt like I was struggling a lot with when I was like training and going through matches and stuff like that. Like I always keep my face down and I wouldn't be able to like sell the pain like I wanted to. So I was like, yo, let me practice sign language and then start really getting my facials involved. And I think that's gonna help out a lot more. And so like that so to hear him say that, I was like, all right, this is all vindicated now. Like this is all in the right word.
Yeah, I mean, both of them work hand in hand. I mean, wrestling and American Sign Language work hand in hand. I mean, it's so many moving parts going on at once. So, like, when you were training, you were hyper focused on what was coming next. Like, you knew the spot, you knew what the spots were, you knew like how to run through them. But the minor details. the facial mannerisms, the where to sell to, which point of the ring positioning, while minding the hard cam. You have all these moving parts that are going. Now with American Sign Language, you have to think about your hand movements and where it's actually going and talking all at the same time. So you're thinking about all this, and then you're like, oh, I got to stare at this camera and go and also tell the story with my face.
Yeah.
It's easy. I can just be like, Kurt Blair, you suck. No, you don't. I love you. Shout out Kurt Blair. But it's easy to say something like that. It's a lot harder to do it when all you have is your body. That's it.
Yeah. And
Also
I was.
help you prepare for, you guessed it, international wrestling.
Yep. 100%. And I
Mhm,
think it's a big thing too, is like you sure you don't speak the language, right? But like everybody registers pain. They know what
mhm,
what it looks like whenever you're angry or when you're sad or when you're
mhm,
excited. I saw a picture. So I was working at HWF. I dropped
mhm.
the Extreme Championship. I dropped it to Isaiah Frazier, and
Yeah.
pull back the curtain a little bit. There was a photo that was taken, and I got the photo, and it's of me, and you can legit, like, in the moment you can tell, like, he is like, what just happened, and like just the confusion in his face, and I was like, that's so good. I was like, that's so good.
Yes, and one thing that I can say 100% wholeheartedly is, especially HWF, they have a killer, and I'm talking about a phenomenal media team. They have phenomenal photographers. Like, their production is pretty top notch, and I've caught a couple of photos that has been sent back to me to where, like I look at it and I was like, you can just see the art of professional wrestling that is captured right here. I had one to where I did a chop to the ring post. Edward James moved out of the way, and I hit the ring post. I turned around to the crowd, and I was selling it. You could see the whole crowd. You could see their facial expressions. It did not matter what I looked like in the photo or what I was doing in the photo. Just the capture of the fans' emotions, and talk about raw emotions. Like, that was my favorite photo that I've taken in quite some time. Like, the last photo that I took that really, like, pulled at my heartstrings like that was done at Fight Pro Wrestling. It was directly after the tag team match between Riot City's Most Wanted versus the Ugly Ducklings. Um, and as soon as I got out of the ring, Lance Lude and myself, Brian, and myself sat down with Ernie Osiris, and somebody came up and they took a photo of us, and then they made it black and white, and like the emotion, like, between us, like, Brian and I just got done wrestling. Lance Lude from the Ugly Ducklings um just got done wrestling, and then we're getting our critiques and hearing, like, how it went from Ernie Osiris, and all three of us are, like, really, really good friends. So, like, capturing that moment meant a lot to me because of, like, what them guys mean to me. And then the best part, I feel like, of that specific photo was you have Nick and Vic walking up to us in the background. So it captured a lot, and like I said, with the HWF photo, that captured a lot of emotion, and the facial expressions, not mine. Like, I was turned around, but it was the crowds, and it really pulled at heartstrings. And then I was told that photo almost didn't make the cut. It was going to be away, but he decided to post it anyway. And I'm like, I'm glad you did.
Yeah. I think that's important too, because like the crowd is much is just as important to every single match as like the workers and the referee that's in the match.
Yeah.
Like if the crowd's not vocal, it's very hard to like get anything out of them. So when it's your pain, you have to translate that pain to them, and they're
Mm.
gonna translate it back to you. And I think about that, like, I'll be fair, like I in Kurt and I's match, right? I'll even put this out there. Like at the beginning, like we came out, the crowd was with us, right? And then we kind of lost the crowd a little bit in the middle because like they were trying to figure out who they wanted to cheer for, right? Kurt hits this big head scissors, right? And the crowd pops for him. He jumps over the top rope. I catch him. I slam him in the ring. Then the crowd's kind of confused, like, who do we cheer for? And like they
Yeah,
wanted to cheer for me, but like I'm not really doing heel things. I'm just being more aggressive as a heel, as a face.
yeah,
And like, so then once like Kurt starts hitting all these big flashy moves, the crowd starts to cheer, and finally I hit a big move, and then the crowd cheers for me, and then now we're getting them back involved in the match. But like my biggest problem was like I wasn't very vocal with the crowd like I usually am, and I think it's because like it's one, like I'm still young in the game, like I'm still learning like how to like that face versus face like dynamic, like how to tell that story and things like that. But like also like talking to them was like very hard for me too because it's like, do I say, if I say anything, will I come off as a dick? Like I don't want to be that person, but I also want to have fun with the crowd. But like I really don't know. So kind of going back and forth on this whole thing, and it ultimately just left me confused, which left the crowd confused, which then I didn't get no real reactions to like a lot of stuff until like I started letting just the wrestling do the talking, and then me just being the big like the bigger guy in the match. But it was hard, and I could see the crowd was like trying to figure out like how to get involved, and I was like, I'm sorry, man. Like I just this match is just gonna be no real talking. It's just me just kind of smash mouthing Kurt this process.
ah, it happens. You know, um, doing a face normally gets difficult in itself. It does confuse the fans. The wrestling does do the speaking. That's generally when you're doing a lot of like mirror spots and back and forth, one ups, whatever you can do, I can do better, type deal. Generally, if I find myself in a situation like that, what I normally do, especially with being a heel, comes so naturally to me, is that I end up just being more of a tweener without crossing the line.
Yeah,
So like you're showing more aggressive style of like, instead of like just hitting them hard or becoming that the working the bigger size, like I'm now actively going to get frustrated. Like if I hit you with an arm drag, you get right back up. You hit me with an arm drag, and I'll take that 2 seconds to turn around and start getting frustrated because like if I show that at least that he's in my head, like use Kurt for example, if I'm showing that Kurt's in my head, then it can manipulate and dictate and change the story to get to that point to where it's like, okay, now I am going to cheer for one, boo the other,
yeah,
because it's it's it literally gets to that to where it's like you don't have to go full on heel or even do like heel things or heel tendencies, but if you showed up that frustrating frustration or kind of um like a baby when they get aggravated, they start throwing temper tantrums, like stuff like that helps because it's like just small details. It doesn't have to be like long, like or something that's drawn out. It could just be something to where it's like, okay, now I'm going to go over and kick the bottom rope. Now if I go over and kick the bottom rope because I'm frustrated because I just got done taking an arm drag, and frustrated, gives the face time to turn around. Yay, look at me. I rush back in at him, hit me with another arm drag. But maybe at that time you catch me with the arm drag and we start going into chain wrestling. Now he's controlling the match, and it's like, ha ha. A lot of other things, or another thing that, not a lot of other things, but another thing that you can use is comedy, which comedy, it's kind of a lost art these days. Like it's only select few guys that like truly do it. But comedy in itself, it can help really tell a story, and it doesn't matter if like at that point, it doesn't matter who's heel or who's face. Somebody's got to laugh and somebody's got to be embarrassed. Like
Yep.
in professional wrestling, if you're not willing to embarrass yourself, you're in the wrong business. So like I found like stuff like that helps with telling that story in a face face venture, or in that matchup. Just them small details is what can really help change the whole flow.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna have to think about that next time when I'm putting together a match and I'm like, all right, well, who's who, and we're gonna figure this all out. Um, Now it's funny because like I was just okay. So for those who watch now, entering 201 with Mason Martin, I'm gonna not that I'm gonna link it down below, but you guys can just type it into YouTube. You can find it yourself. Uh, so we were talking about something that was kind of funny because as I mentioned at the top, one of the guys who helped train me back during the pandemic, Mason said that one of the things that frustrated him the most about me was that I could make all the hard things look easy, but all the easy things look difficult. And he's like, he's like, I would get so frustrated with you because I'll be like, yo, Cliff, like run over there and do a flip bump, and you do it effortlessly, and it'd be like bump on contact, and it just wasn't registering at all. And I think about the one that I always think about is it was a moment where it was like I think it was like the first or second time that you and I actually ever talked. I think it was actually the first time we talked, but you were like, all right, I'm gonna hit you with this mean ass shot, and then like as I came running, like you you like roared out, and then like you would tap me with a finger, and I was just like, man, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry, I should have bumped. But I was like, it was a weird concept for me to like bump on contact, and like I just remember how frustrated everybody was around that I was just not like picking this up at first.
Wrestling is a mental block.
Yeah.
Wrestling is a mental block. Wrestling is a mental block. I'll say that again for the people in the back that may not have heard that wrestling is a mental block. It's not the fact that you can't do it. I mean, there are people that truly cannot do what we do. Wrestling isn't for everybody, but wrestling is a mental block. And what I tell all the students now is like, I have to get you out of your head before you know that you're even in your head, because I'm going to see that you're in your head. Now, the whole purpose of sending you off and screaming and then just poking you is because the only thing I want you to focus on is that contact. I'm going to make it seem like I'm going to kill you. I'm going to literally be right here rent free. And that's the reason why like I do that specifically. It's we all have a mental block. It's just finding where that mental block is. Okay. Now, if you come to a professional wrestling training school and you have athletic background, doing a flip is going to be easy for you because it like your mind is already is already trained to go head over heels. Like you, when you step into the ring and you have no athletic background, you've never done this before. Now you're telling your body to literally do stuff that in your mind is telling you this is not natural. I shouldn't be doing this. Like standing up and doing a front flip and landing flat on your back, or in the bridge the way that you're supposed to, but landing flat on your back in a ring, your mind is telling it, I shouldn't be doing this. Now just as well as I do, a professional ring is not a trampoline. It's not soft, and in many cases, it's very very hard and stiff. In many cases, like you'll never get into the same wrestling ring. I mean, unless you're doing the loops or whatnot, you're probably not going to get into the same version of a wrestling ring twice. Everybody's wrestling ring is different in some way, somehow, shape, or form. safer fashion, like whether it be the padding that they use, the ropes that they use, the actual framing in itself, if they use decking or plywood, like the cross cables in itself, whether it be ratchet straps or actual come alongs, like when like everything is different. So every ring feels different. So when you get into a match now, it's kind of like in the back of your mind of, oh, it's just a wrestling ring. I'm gonna have this match. I normally do equipment checks, so that way I know exactly. I know where the holes are. I know where the frays are. I know how if the turnbuckles were set up, to be flat instead of, oh, it feels tight here and leave it to where you can't climb the rope safely because the turnbuckle was, instead of sitting like this, it's sitting like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I do equipment checks for my own peace of mind, but I've also done this for going on 17 years. So like I already know every ring's going to be different. But in training, it's the first time you ever step into a ring. So yeah, and then you telling yourself, I have to jump up as high as I can and flip forward and then land flat on my back, or I have to jump up as high as I can and just throw myself back. Like it like this is nuts. This is insane. Like what am I doing? So you have to get through that mental block.
Yeah.
And it's repetition is key. The more you do it, obviously, the more you're going to get used to it. Your muscle memory is going to develop, but you're going to have a mental block somewhere, somehow, in some form, shape, or fashion. I think my first mental block that I truly like, I really, really wanted to get over was suicide dives. And the first time I ever learned a suicide dive, I was with Kindred and Rich Swan at EWA Maryland. We were in the training school, and that's when I was like, I want to learn suicide dives. So we learned how to do suicide dives. Well, I learned how to do suicide dives. Um, so like that was, why am I throwing myself outside of the ring to the floor? Like I'm, I'm gonna land on my head. Luckily, um, I've only messed up a suicide dive once, and it actually happened recently, and that was on the first Riot Maker show. That was the first and only time that I ever messed up a suicide dive. Um, and it was because I went half a second behind Nick because it was tandem suicide dives, and the way I dive and the way he dives are completely different. So because I was a half a second slower, the rope actually came up and caught my leg, sent me straight down.
Yeah.
Um, so that was my mental block for an example. Was a suicide dive. Now, students always have some sort of form of anxiety about something, and that is where it stops you from where the hard stuff looks easy, but the easy stuff is so difficult because it's like, use military terms for an example. Anticipating the command. The command is bump on contact.
Yeah.
Well, you're anticipating the bump on contact to where you're anticipating it so much that you go before the contact, or even worse, after the contact.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a such thing as after the contract. After the contact, because if you bump on contact, um, it's not going to hurt if I throw a clothesline. If you're bumping after the contact, it's because I made you bump. That it, like I know it's a weird concept hearing of bumping after contact. Well, you're supposed to bump after contact. No, you're supposed to bump on contact. My clothesline is going to be, it's going to feel two different ways depending on how this is executed. If you bump, or three different ways technically. If you bump beforehand, I have a good chance of breaking your nose, because instead of you getting hit across the chest with my clothesline, it's now going square across your face.
Yeah.
You bump on contact, you're going to feel a little bit, maybe a little thud. Bam, bump, you're up, good to go. You bump after the contact, that's a whole clothesline from hell right there. Not intended to be, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you mentioned the dive, messing up a dive. Uh, what's the worst bump you've ever taken?
Oh man, there are so many things that I could like go through of saying the worst bump that I've ever taken. Man, see, I could be like Rampage Pro Wrestling where Vic did the cradle shock to me off the apron through a table that was covered in Matchbox cars to the concrete floor.
Ow.
I could say something like that, but really, the worst bump that I've ever taken happened recently at the Double Barrel for Adrenaline Championship Wrestling. And the reason why it was the worst bump that I've ever taken was I hit Sean Raymond with a Claymore, simple back bump. But the reason why it was the worst one that I've ever taken is because when I landed, I dislocated my shoulder, and
Mm.
this month ago, and this was one of the beginning spots of the match. So I wrestled another 6 minutes and had a run in from Mason Martin at the end with my shoulder out of socket.
Yeah. Ow. No bueno.
That's definitely the worst bump.
So I'm gonna ask you this last question before
Mhm.
we jump into my favorite part of the Three Count podcast.
Go for it.
Uh, what's the hardest lesson that you've had to learn being in the business as long as you have?
Hardest lesson that I had to learn is all right. So be humble. Always be humble. Um, Generally coming up through the wrestling business, and I tell the students this now. Stay humble, stay hungry, stay focused. You know what needs to be done. You know how it needs to get done. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Generally, in between the 3 and 5 year mark, this is something that I've seen in my time. That's when you start developing egos. Um, in between the 3 and 5, and about 5 is when you're considered, like in any other trade, a journeyman. I call journeyman people that actually travel. Um, but to each its own. But when you start getting into your journeyman phase of being in this business, your ego, um, whether you realize it or not, you develop one, and then you start. Oh, hi, cat. You start thinking, hey, I've been doing this for you know X amount of years. I shouldn't have to touch a ring. Shouldn't have to set up chairs. I'll think about doing a promo. I don't think this match needs a promo. Um, like I've been through ups, downs, everything in between. I've been on good sides. I've been on bad sides. I've made amends, and it all comes back to attitude. Be humble. 90% of success is showing up. 10% is attitude. Okay, especially in this business. Coming from a promoter, the more you show up and the more that I see you around, the more that I'm going to remember you and the more that I'm going to want to give you a spot. 90% of success in this business is showing up. 10% is attitude. The 10%, the attitude part, speaks volumes. Um, Always treat this business as what it is. It's a business. It's a job. It's a fun job, but it's still a job. So if you keep all of this in mind, um, when you take the booking and you get booked on a show, hey, what do you need from me? Have your music ready on a USB drive, so that way nobody has to download it off of YouTube. Help the next guy out, help the sound guy out. Go to whoever your ring announcer is. Here's my information. The more that you're around and have the attitude of, and this is not always the case, but if you keep this in mind, it'll help. I'm just happy to be here. You'll get a lot farther than not. So definitely, like, be humble, be teachable, be coachable. It doesn't matter how long you've been in this business. To this day, I am still learning this business. And I am so thankful that I have been able to travel with James Ellsworth in the past couple of weeks and been around him, whether it be at training or at a show. And I am learning more stuff about how to be a better promoter. So my journey in this business is not done. I am still learning. Um, I have been a promoter. It's something that I've done for years. But having that knowledge of somebody that is more successful than I am at at wrestling. I mean, he's been WWE. He's walked the stage that we all want to walk,
Yep.
whether it's SmackDown, Raw, or WrestleMania. He's there, but he runs a very, very successful promotion here in Maryland, Adrenaline Championship Wrestling. So why would I not want to learn from somebody that is doing it better than what I'm doing it? So yeah, like, you never stop learning. Um, you have two ears and one mouth for a reason. Listen more than you speak. Um, keep everything, you know, keep everything to a minimum. Watch your social medias. Um, know the difference between personal and business. Always separate your business, but know that in this day and age, it's very hard to separate personal from business when you have the cancel culture.
Yeah.
Stay humble. Stay humble. Like, before we hit record, we were talking about current events. I have not said anything about the current events. I don't plan on saying anything about the current events. I know. Um, I know what happened. I have my opinion on what happened, but that's exactly what it is. It's an opinion. We have the facts of this video, that video, whatever. To clarify, it's the Roger Jackson and Psycho Stu. Um, we have all of that stuff out, but that's all out for the public to form their own opinion. You have the media that's going to twist it and put out what they want to put out and aim it to where it's at. But nonetheless, stay humble. Not everything needs a response. Not everything needs to be talked about. Not everything needs to be said. Not everything needs to go up on social medias. Just stay humble. Like, know that, like, politics is what's going to get you in trouble. No,
Yeah.
no matter, it doesn't matter if it's wrestling politics or if it's politics. It's going to get you in trouble. And it's not like you're out seeking the trouble, or you might be. I mean, to each its own. But stay humble. Like, hey, know that if you're trying to sell tickets to this show, you probably don't want to follow it up with a post about Donald Trump or Joe Biden directly after it, or whoever else is running for president. I don't really care. Um, I've worked for the government for too long to truly care about what's going on. I have too much insider information. Oh shit!
I feel
Hold
that
hold up.
100%.
Got a notification from the FBI. Cease and desist. Okay, got you. Sorry.
Alright, well, check this out. So, I wanna take this over to my favorite part of the 3 Count Podcast, which is called the 3 Count Podcast 10 Count Questions. Mr. Wylde, this is how it works. I'm gonna fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast. Whatever your answer is, that is your answer.
Baloney.
Yeah, great. I love it. So,
That was the first thing that came to mind. I don't know why.
that's hey, to each their own. But
Exactly.
we're gonna put on the imaginary timer for added pressure. Bing. And in the words of my favorite commentator, Mike Goldberg, here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
Raw.
Favorite cartoon?
Oh, that's a hard one. Dragon Ball Z.
I love it. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Favorite TV show?
Currently, I would have to say Twisted Metal.
Oh, it's a good one. The second season is fire.
Oh yes.
Coffee or tea?
T.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie is Tombstone.
It's a great pick. Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Favorite podcast?
The 3 Count Podcast.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
You got
Nominate
it there. I was like, hold up, wait, I gotta think. This is terrible. But I knew that
nominate
one.
nominate one person that you want to see on this podcast.
Oh man. All right. So who have you had on this podcast?
Just about everybody at Rice at the compound has been on this podcast, or been associated with the compound has also been on this podcast.
Oh, so you're saying all of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Well, the one that you haven't done is the newcomer. The one that called me out. No, well, it's going to happen November 7th. I'm giving my shoulder time to heal. November 7th at Middleway, West Virginia, at the Middleway Volunteer Fire Department. Riot Maker Pro Wrestling presents Unchained. It's going to be teacher Matt Wylde versus newcomer Donovan Rio. Donovan Rio, I have been personally mentoring. Um, when I was wrestling in Virginia for a company called TCW, True Championship Wrestling, um, that's when I met Donovan Rio, and he was looking for a place to train. He came to me. I said, "I got you," and it's been me and him ever since. Then once it got to a certain point, I'm like, "Hey, Donovan Rio, here's Mason Martin. You're gonna marry with him for a little bit."
Mm.
But no, Mark. His real name's Mark. Mark has been amazing. His journey has reminded me of guys like you coming through the compound. Um, he has true heart. He has true dedication. I love that man, and I only want to see him grow. Because, like I tell everybody, I'm not just training you how to be a wrestler. I'm training you to take my job. So I am very confident in taking my ball and going home, but leaving you the field, leaving him the field. Look, I'll be 37 in November. I dislocated my shoulder off of a back bump. I'm old. It's a young man's game. I'm gonna give you everything that I can, 110%. In between them ropes. But I also know that I have a shelf life. We all have a shelf life. I am transitioning or into more promoter stuff and dealing with Riot Maker Pro Wrestling. Um, so yeah, it's time to move aside, and instead of going, hey, this is a guy that you need to check out, and it's somebody that you've trained with or you've known for years. Nah, it's a new generation. Donovan Rio, check him out. He's doing very well. He's improving every week, and the sky's the limit for him. And I can't wait to see what happens for him. Like I want him to do. Um, Obviously, I want him to do more than what I've ever done. Um, I sit back and I watch and I follow all your guys' stuff, and I go and I'm really proud. I'm super proud of all of you of what you've done and what you've become. You know, I want to see more of the Mr. Grimm Hitman for Hires. I want to see more of you guys in NWA. I want to see the sharpest blade, Chris Slade. I want to see more of you guys not only win King of Maryland, but the Shane Shamrock Memorial Cup in the same year. That's what I wanted. That's what I want to see. So when I say check out Donovan Rio, it's just the beginning for him.
Bet. My last question for you is my favorite one to ask every single person who comes on this show. Favorite curse word?
All of them.
It's
All of them.
funny because I've heard you say them all like in a straight sentence.
Yes. My superpower. It is my superpower. Oh, yeah. Yes, all of them. Every single one of them. Every.
Well, I was to say, well, bet. The last thing I need from you is to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Very simple. You can find me on Facebook under Matt Wylde, spelled Wylde. You can also find me on Instagram. It is mayhem underscore spelled underscore Mac, MAC. Um, I am also on TikTok. I have no idea what my name is on there, but I'm sure it has something to do with Matt Wild in there. So that one I pretty much like update like every week. I put new videos up, new match clips, stuff like that. Um, that's that's the fun one. But if you want to find me on Facebook, you absolutely can. You also can find me with Riot Maker Pro Wrestling, which you can find on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X. Um, Riot Maker Pro, very simple. Riot Maker Pro Wrestling, because we just changed the handles to where all of them match.
Yeah.
So trying to remember, um, make sure that it is Riot Maker Pro. Um, but yeah, that's the company that I own out of West Virginia. That's a student-based show, so anybody that comes through the Riot City compound um, and our affiliates, you will see on Riot Maker Pro Wrestling. We try to use all of our students. We have a lot of students, so we have a roster rotation. Um, So there are some Riot City compound students that we haven't got to yet. Not that we did not send out the offer because we definitely, you know, offer it to all of our students. Um, so the easiest way to be a part of Riot Maker Pro Wrestling, because I get resumes sent to me a million times a day, is simply find the Riot City training compound. Um, and come train with us because that we that's how you get fed into Riot Maker Pro Wrestling. And the other part of the Riot City training compound is that we are a direct feeder school to ACW Maryland, so you will have plenty of opportunities and plenty of opportunities to find me. And like Cliff said earlier, I am a lot of places. Just MOUSE, start with Mickey, and then use every letter in the alphabet. I'm going to use all the curse words, and this is the 3 Count Podcast.
Bet. Well, he gave you all the handles. He told you where you could find him. He even told you about Riot Maker Pro Wrestling, which you're truly is very proud to be a part of. So, what does that mean? Like every great part of a wrestling match, we got to take this home because this is a 3 Count Podcast presents Now Into Ring, and now I'm your host,
What
Clifford Red Dog Miller.
one thing that you're missing though is that you forgot to tell everybody that Red Dog is in the heavyweight title tournament for Riot Maker Pro Wrestling, and he earned his spot and solidified his spot by beating the Independent Wrestling Hall of Famer. Not just a company Hall of Famer. I'm talking the Independent Wrestling Hall of Famer. The whole Hall of Fame of the whole independent wrestling scene. Ruckus.
I was
You
just
did
being
that,
humble.
and you did that in the first ever Riot Maker Pro Wrestling match.
Yeah, I was just being humble. I didn't want to say anything.
Oh, no. Because when Red Dog stands across from the King, you're gonna have a barn burner right there.
Yeah, yep. Can't wait. There'll be a whole promo getting ready to get dropped about it, so don't worry. You're going to be seeing that real soon. But, you know, like I said, I'm your Sherpa, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And it's never about me. It's about who's entering. So who's entering? You see him right there, Mayhem Matt Wylde himself. And you guys know what to do. Tune in to the next episode and be there. Or you're legitimately follow us on all of our social media platforms. You're checking us out on YouTube. You're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You're even checking us out on Spotify. You're checking us out on Amazon Music. You're even listening to us on that dumb app with the stupid jingle that goes iHeartRadio or whatever. Leaving those 5-star frost flash reviews off of the Eiffel Tower onto your Apple device and letting the world know about how great we are. You're checking out our merch on foryourwear.com or even checking it out on prowrestlingtees.com. You're telling your mom about it, your dad about it, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your grandmas, your grandpas, your best friends, and your enemies because we love haters too. You're doing all that stuff, or really you're just kind of waiting for this episode to end, waiting for that outro, and then you're choosing another episode to listen to. Kawaii. What's up? It is your friendly neighborhood Red Dog, and thank you for checking out this episode of the 3 Count Podcast. Whether that was Chaz Friends, Red Dog Friends, Damien Friends, The Film Slouch, Now Into the Ring, Now Entering 201, or Now Returning to the Ring, all those good episodes, you should really be liking, commenting, and even sharing this with your friends, family, whoever it may be. But what you all should be doing is checking us out on all of our social media platforms at 3 Count Pod. Whether that's on IG, Twitch, you can check us out on Threads, whatever it may be. And if you go check us out on X, it is 3count_pod. Check us out on YouTube, as well as Facebook, on Rumble, on Apple Music, on Spotify. All those fun things. Tell your mom about us, your dad about us, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, and your best friends and your enemies because we love haters too. Do all that stuff. And then, last but not least, buy our merch on foryourwear.com or prowrestlingtees.com. Kawaii.